You ever been arrested for standing on your own porch? Yeah, that happened. And all because I told the neighborhood queen bee she couldn't use my backyard for her HOA gala. I'm not kidding. That's how this all started. So I live in this suburb called Maplewood Estates. Been here a few years now. Bought the house myself. Nothing fancy. Just a 2-story with a porch swing and a small garden I've been working on since I moved in. Quiet place, or at least it used to be. Until I ran into Diane Whitmore. Picture every HOA Karen stereotype you've ever heard of. Now add a clipboard, pearls, and a husband who just happens to be a city cop. That's Diane. She's the HOA president and walks around like she owns every square inch of this zip code. First few months, she was mostly passive-aggressive. You know, notes about my lawn, complaints about my jazz music, asking if I'm renting, even though my name's literally on the deed. Microaggressions stacked on top of each other like a bad Jenga tower, but I let it slide until that Thursday. I'm on my porch, drinking coffee, when Diane struts up my walkway in this hot pink blazer like she's about to auction off the neighborhood. "Travis, we need to talk," she says. Here we go. She tells me she's throwing this big charity soiree on Saturday, and that, surprise, she'll be using my backyard for the cocktail hour. Says it so casually like she's asking for a cup of sugar. Only she's not asking. She's already talked to the caterers, scoped out my garden, and decided it's perfect for her event. I told her no, flat out, and she didn't take it well. Her smile slipped, and she leaned in, real close, and said, "You'd be wise to reconsider. The community doesn't always respond well to people who don't cooperate." And there it was, the threat. Wrapped in that fake sweet HOA language, but loud and clear. I wasn't one of them, and she was gonna make sure I knew it. I figured that was the end of it. I was wrong. Saturday morning, I wake up to what sounds like a construction zone. Tents going up, tables being set, music playing, and half the damn setup is on my property. Someone ran extension cords across my lawn, flattened my tomato plants, and a catering station was parked under my peach tree. I storm out in my hoodie, tell the staff they've got the wrong yard. They point at Diane's house. She said it was arranged. Of course she did. I tell them to move it. That's when Diane comes waltzing out like it's all under control. "Oh, Travis," she sings. "I'm so glad you changed your mind," I tell her. Again, "No, move your people off my property." She steps in closer and says in this fake concerned whisper, "Did you just threaten me in front of witnesses?" She wanted a scene. She planned a scene. The guests, the caterers, they all stopped what they were doing. Diane was baiting me to explode in front of an audience. So I stay calm. I say, "Your event ends at your fence line." Period. She doesn't answer, just pulls out her phone. "Rick?" "Yeah, come quick. He's being aggressive. Aggressive, I'm scared." That's her husband, Officer Rick Whitmore. And in 10 minutes flat, he shows up in a patrol car, full uniform, sirens and all, bringing backup with him like I'm an active threat. Rick steps out like he owns the block, chest puffed up, hand on his belt. Diane's already in full performance mode, hand on her chest, eyes wide like I just threatened to burn the neighborhood down. "Travis is unstable," she tells him. "He's threatening me. I'm afraid of what he might do." Rick stares me down, then tells me to step away. From my own porch. I said, "Rick, your wife has trespassed on my property. I told her to leave. That's not a crime." He didn't care. He was already reaching for the cuffs. Said I was being detained for disturbing the peace. I didn't argue. Didn't resist. I let him cuff me, right there, in front of his wife's guests, while Diane practically glowed with satisfaction. But what Diane didn't know was that I'd upgraded my home security after some package thefts. Cameras, audio, all of it, feeding straight to cloud storage. Every word she said on my porch, every trespass, every lie, caught in 4K. And more importantly, My neighbor across the street saw it too. Mrs. Elaine Patel, retired civil rights attorney. Real sharp, real calm. She walks over as Rick is about to shove me into the back of the patrol car. "Excuse me, officer," she says, phone in hand. "I'd like to know exactly what crime this man committed, because I recorded the entire incident." Rick tries to brush her off, says it's police business. She doesn't budge. "I know the law, and I know this arrest is illegal." Diane tries to cut in, throwing more lies into the wind, but Mrs. Patel wasn't having it. She tells them she's sending the video to the district attorney and the police oversight board. And just for good measure, she posted it in the neighborhood Facebook group. That's when Diane really started to crack. She gasped like someone slapped her. Rick's backup, young guy named Officer Vega, looks like he wants to melt into the grass. He quietly pulls Rick aside and says, "Maybe it's time to rethink this." Still, Rick doubles down. That's when I speak up and say, "There's also footage from earlier this week, when you came to my garage and threatened me for saying no to your wife." Vega snaps his head toward Rick like, "Seriously?" Rick didn't answer. It got real quiet after that. And then, one of the caterers, this older lady with zero tolerance for drama, calls out, "This man didn't do anything wrong. We saw the whole thing." Then another says, "Oh, yeah, lady in pink's lost her damn mind." Just like that, the whole setup starts coming apart. Staff packing up, decorators bailing, neighbors watching in disbelief. Mrs. Patel looks at Rick one more time and says, "You can release him now and maybe walk away with your job, or I make some calls that guarantee you don't wear that badge another day." Rick finally uncuffs me, but the damage is done. His career's in freefall. Diane's HOA reign? Over. She resigns the next week and puts her house up for sale. And me? I'm still here, tending my garden, sipping coffee on the porch Diane tried to take over, waving at Mrs. Patel every morning. Sometimes karma comes fast. Sometimes she wears pearls and calls the cops on herself. But hey, what would you have done if someone tried to steal your backyard with a clipboard and a badge? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your take. Was justice served? Should folks like Diane face more than social fallout? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around, because these HOA stories, they just keep getting wilder.